Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my friends. Welcome, pre-market here at Spartan Trading. It is Wednesday, ergo. Welcome to those of you joining us live through our YouTube stream that we offer on Wednesday. So you can take a peek-a-poo at what we do here at SpartanTrading.com every morning, as long as the market is open. Obviously, I'm bullish on the market. Statistically, it should go higher. We got the CPI. I think a lot of people kind of watching and waiting and this and that. I don't really think the CPI is going to be that much of a game changer. It's not. I think it'll be, if it's a little bit hotter, not much hotter. But it's earnings season, right? Friday. We got that coming into us. Right, we got the semis rallying. That's a good thing, right? API crude walking the wild side, much bigger draw than expected. Overseas, overtime pay going on in Japan, right? Cash earnings, monthly CPI. This is what we look for. Australia, I think, is my bellwether in terms of overseas as a leading indicator. And that was a little bit under expectation. Okay, the forecast was 4.5, 4.3. I think that's a positive for because it's such a commodity laden country. And that's what I look at as for me at least, telling me what I think we're going to see. Retail sales, softer. Indonesia, Japan, 10-year, 0.5 now. And the market's rallying because no, they're not going to tighten, yada, yada. This is just since 1995, well, late 1990s, right? This Japan shows you how you can kick the can down the road for decades after decades after decades because you're a freaking country, okay? So it's not like a state, it's not like a business, right? Countries can kick the can down the road longer than you can live, right? So, I talked to twins about this. Oh, the debt. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter, right? UK, 2.887. The gilt auction, the Bund came out 2.19, lower. Money supply, 10.9. Mexico, gross fixed investments, much better than expected. The mortgage, 30-year, a little bit higher. Applications, bouncing. Indices, whatever. I mean, there is such a problem, right? In terms of supply, all kinds of stuff, right? I don't know. Well, I do know this, right? The reality is growth. If you can't grow in this sort of environment, it's pretty hard to invest in you, right? I mean, I think that's what we're seeing right now in terms of sharpening the pencils. What sectors can grow that have a higher PE multiple, that can grow their PE multiple, right? That's what it's all about. All right, we got Bailey speaking, right? We do have the 17-week bill auction, right? 10-year note, this is going to be fun. Williams speaking, yada, yada, yada. And obviously tomorrow, CPI is the top Judah. All right, we did have some earnings. We got Katie Holmes, the Saft, Infosys, pre-market, and then obviously Friday. This is what we're looking for. I mean, I don't know how. The expectations are running pretty rampant there. So, I don't know. What do we got? Only in America. So the SEC was hacked. But where is this? This is the funny one right here. Elon just said that the SEC's Twitter account was compromised by an individual gaining control of a phone number associated to the SEC's X account. The account also did not have a two-factor authentication enabled. Yes. Finally. Yeah, but what are you gonna do about it? Look, this is top-down management oversight. I know there's only two out there, but give me a freaking break. Seriously, I mean, I can't say this enough. Seriously, I mean, it's really hard for me not to say seriously. Even lowly me, who's a boomer, knows you need two-step authentication. Okay, seriously, anybody who doesn't. All right, I got to talk to you about something here about the defense secretary. He should resign. Biden needs, if he doesn't, he needs to resign. If he was the colonel and one of his soldiers did what he did, he would be discharged immediately. Go home, you're done. He needs to resign. Sorry, I had to do that because that's crazy. Walmart debuts generative AI search for AI replenishment features at CES. That's pretty cool, right? But this shows you the usage of AI, okay, across so many different sectors and the efficiency. So this leads us to, you know, what I'm big about is productivity. Productivity offsets a lot of woes. If we can get that productivity going up, and we are starting to see that, that helps. Actually, what's the GDP nowcast look like? We haven't looked at that in a little bit. January 9th, whoop, going up. And these guys, whatever, they don't know. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. Okay. Boomers haven't saved enough. Sorry, guys. Gen Z, sorry. I have no idea what the hell they're going to do with Social Security. Good luck with that. Calls on Biden to fire people. He usually says no. I just. How banks are gaming a Fed rescue program. Yeah, this is like the PPP. If you give it to them, they will take it. There's no oversight. I mean, literally, I can't tell you how many billions and billions and billions of dollars is wasted just because of lack of government oversight, because they allow people to do it. And guess what? There's no morals and ethics when it comes to this sort of stuff. Greed wins over. Sorry, I was raised, my father was an accountant, and he says it's okay to pay taxes. Thank God you do, because that means you make a living. Okay, that doesn't exist anymore. That's the greatest generation. They're not around anymore. So I guess Nikki's kind of catching up in Iowa, not in Iowa, New Hampshire. And she's, this is from the outside looking in. If I wasn't in the United States as an American, I would just, you know, I was overseas when Ronald Reagan was elected president. And I cannot tell you the amount of humiliation was dished upon me overseas, saying that a grade B- actor was made president of the United States. What do you think they're saying now? They're saying. The problem is that we don't care. And maybe we should. The dumbing down of America. I don't know. Anyways, could be the next Apple stock. This is Barron's, guys. How many times have we told you? Okay, Barron's, if you follow Barron's on a stock trade, just, hey, and I'll take it from you. SPX, okay, so I was talking about this potentially, looks like this, that October low. Whoop. And that's what I was talking to Spoon about yesterday. I said, Spoon, this feels a lot like this. And he's agreeing. Can you imagine, guys? I'm just saying, okay? if this is true, all of these guys who don't think we're going to break the high in our bears and deflation and stuff like that, going to own it, right? Just saying. The gap from last week hasn't been filled yet. As long as it's not filled, there's still a chance you can make a lower low this week if it fills. NVIDIA, you really want to pick a top. I gave you the measured moves on it. You really want to pick a top. Anyways. Tommy boy has to investigate itself. So Tommy was on and he's talking about 10,000 or something like that on cryptos. But here, I think that the next one, Bitcoin will reach over. So he's a big crypto guy, guys. Big crypto. He and Scaramucci of Buds, okay? 100,000, maybe 150,000. Hey, I'm not saying it won't, but I'm just saying, okay. Anyways. So I have shown you this. This is what it looks like. I showed you this a month ago. This is what it looks like. S&P, a little bit, first 3 months, and then, okay. This is what it looks like. Statistically, right? This is what it looks like. Kind of tough. And then you got, so this is where, you basically take your profits, you look over your shoulder, and you let things run, and then you have trailing stops, okay? And then you wait for your next opportunity. That's what it looks like, okay? SMCI, this thing, all-time highs we break, then it's the same setup as NVIDIA. So these are the ones you want to be in, right? You can also read the full report. Once again, Congress has beaten the market. Since our first 2020, we showed how Congress continues to outperform. Good morning, son.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Right? Right, so this is what it looks like. I don't know what to tell you. Options. Hedge. We'll talk about it later, son. Right? Paris commercial real estate sales slumped to lowest levels since 2009. Apple iPhone sales in China fall 30% in the first week of 2024. A war over Taiwan could deliver a $10 trillion shock to the world. Whatever. Squawk. Shout it out. He pointed his bat out. Let's see. You heard it there, Lizzie. Okay. You know what? I think he's in the top 3. And anyone who has never seen Jimmy Page play the guitar, please do so. But, yeah, I don't think he's number 1. Okay. I mean, there's others, I mean, I'd have to say Stevie Ray Vaughan. I don't know. There's others. Jimi Hendrix was pretty damn good also. I don't know. He's in the top 3. I'd give it to him. 80 years old. And he still played. He played recently. Just amazing stuff. Just, I don't know. That's my public service announcement. Top down, central bank watch pause for thought. Monthly proportion of central banks leaving rates unchanged. Right. Emerging markets monetary policy pulse. Right. Look, I do have some money in emerging markets, and you know that. I mean, I don't have a lot. I mean, this is only worthy of, 1% involvement. As far as it's not like my India trade, right? We'll see. I mean, this short is still really robust. So, I know. All right, industries over in Asia. What does it look like? Consumer electronics, share of revenue, share of patents. Industrial electronics, did you know that? 91%. electric vehicles, 96 of the patents. I didn't know that. Anyways, this is not their thing. This is their thing. But what happens if they start to get into this stuff, biopharma and stuff? Just wondering. Anyways. Percent of US equity in mutual fund shares owned by the wealthy is 10%. Right. Yeah. Just saying. (92.5%) is owned by the wealthiest 10%. That trickle down stuff that we always thought about, like down here and down here and down here, doesn't exist. But this wealth effect gets passed on, I guess, to next generation. I don't know. Just saying. All right, what does January imply for the year? This is the one that we want to look at. All right. First 3 days. Right? Percentage of the time, market is down at that point. First 5 days. Okay. And then there you go. January all. Okay. Year to day is up after average FYI price move. Boop, 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 boop. You know, I actually think this is obviously more important in terms of the totality of it, but you know, what do I know? First 5 days indicators 1950 to year to date. This will be return annual. First 5 days are positive, negative, right? Average, okay, so statistically, 34.53. There you go. But do not forget, and I keep telling you this, we live in a different world than 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago. All right, fear-mongering. The World Central Bank is warning that the global economy will track for the worst. Well, yeah, I would agree with that, you know. It's a different world we live in, right? All right. America's offices are emptier than any point in a nice order. We know that, right? Staggering 19.6% okay. The Swiss National Bank posted an annual loss. We know this too, 3.54 billion. We'll check it. Central banks around the world are in the red. Okay, so let's talk about this. When we see this selling that comes out of nowhere, I am pretty confident that a lot, when you can't explain it, it's overseas. It is. I mean, even whether it's sovereign wealth, and then even the buying when you can't explain it. It's overseas. Do not forget overseas central bank, especially the Swiss, has trillions of dollars worth of US equity and bonds in their portfolio. Okay. If you have to basically plug a little hole, you're going to sell your assets and it's not going to be domestic. I keep saying this. This is fact. This is just accounting 101, right? Gold. So you know the drill on this one in terms of bricks. What is it going to be used as? You know, underpinning. SPY, hourly, looking for it. That looks like a Head and Shoulders, whatever. Microsoft, let's do it. Microsoft, Meta, let's do it. This is what I want. I want leadership. I'd love to see Meta leadership. That's kind of what I want to see right now. We'll see if that happens, right? I'm so glad I listened to my Better Angels and I sold some of the boil yesterday. So I brought the spread back in because retail, this is what retail looks like. They always chase it. So I'm kind of happy about that right now. So, and I posted it for you guys. So we took some off and that's nice. It was a nice, you know, that really offsets a lot of this going on right now. What is wrong with this thing? 10 surprises that could affect the markets. Okay, let's see. Why not, right? We got it. High bond taxes, companies survive 5% rates with a surge in bankruptcies, IPOs come back. The worst developed market of the past 40 years is this year's best. Everybody's talking about Japan, right? Geopolitical risks factored into the Magnificent Seven. Biotech pushed to record highs. I agree with that. Investors about energy. I agree with that. Only path is 100th pass to 5%. One path. I agree with this. This is my narrative. This is what I keep saying. This is what I think. All right. Here we had Apple. Okay, 180s in the money. This was interesting, right? 2026, 70s in the money. This was interesting. I haven't seen this one sweep. 2.4 million buckos. Okay. Not in the money. In the money. A lot of paper replacement going on, right? Insider sales, nothing on the other side. This is obviously the ability to sell, right? A lot of selling going on right there. Let's take a peek. Everybody's got an opinion and they're really expressing it right now. So Floor, I like this sector, Floor, Jacobs, stuff like that. Willis Tower, that's kind of interesting. WTW, 31%, TD Cowen, 71%. Yeah, I'm going to take a look at that. Lots of downgrades coming out too. They're just dropping right and left because they haven't done stuff. Look, if you have the capacity to see someone who's a 78, even a 70%, 65% stud at, pay attention. That's what I do. Okay, but as you can see, a lot of this is just a function of valuation, right? Yeah, the financials, right? I did sell my alley. I just think that, there's better bang for my buck right now. At least in my, this is what it looks like in October. What I started to do is just look for stuff that I felt would, start to bounce, like snowflakes, stuff like that. I'm in some align, breaking out here for the next leg up off the EMAs, right? So we'll see. I don't know. We shall see. 81% Berkshire Hills. Not familiar. So this HWM, I posted this earlier. I showed you this one. I am in this one and I posted this to you. I had done some research on it 2 weekends ago and I shouted it out to you as a buy. And I did buy it, a 1% position on it. Keep an eye on this one, all right? This is in the aerospace. It gets a lot of rankings as one of the top best in the aerospace sector in terms of the parts and stuff like that. So I bought it, just keep an eye on it, okay? This is 76%, and it went from hold to buy, okay, with a 34% juicy price target, okay? So I might add a little bit to it, but it has to break out. And the breakout is, well, it's above the breakout. So I probably will add, what is the breakout right here? 54.41, so I'll probably buy it. Yeah, screw that. I mean, NVIDIA 500s. All right, I show this to you every day. And the reason why I show this to you is because I say, I think if the market's going higher, they're wrong. Right? If the market's going higher, this doesn't happen at the end of the year. Okay? I just cannot reiterate that. This is old school. Screw 2%. 3% is idyllic. Okay, and be thankful for it. You'll be lucky if you can keep it between 3 and 4%. Reversion to the mean historically is like 3.5%. Right? Whatever. What do we got? Everest, Marriott, and Moody's today. Anything new here? Fortinet, Fortnite did get an upgrade. Win is still on it. I still got my Fortnite, still have my Win. Boeing, I don't know about that. But bookings, Rio Tinto, nothing, you know, a lot of overseas names coming in. All right. Let's take a look here at our breath. So everything's reset front end, right? This is starting to reset. This is starting to reset here as well. IWM, right? McClellan summation, XLE energy. And you can see here the summation is actually going green. That's notable. So we are seeing the necessary resets, okay, that I look at for us to have a breakout rally, right? You can see here 5-day greens, right? 10-day. And that's basically what we saw as a reflection. Everything has pretty much reset on the optics side, right? So that's, you know, bullish. All right, what do we got? All right, so sorry about that. Here's the rates right now, right? Yield curve, whatever, you know, inverting again. Hola. Anyways, well, not inverting, steepening, but inverting here. I don't know. This is just, you know, what can I tell you? Here's Europe. So yields are down across the board, except the front end in Belgium. But anyways, you can see that. Right? All right, here's our illustrious 2.5. You can see here double top. I want to look at productivity right now. We'll see what's going on with that. Yeah. This is what has to start curling up. Let's take a look at it from a labor cost perspective. This is business productivity. So that's suspended 6 months. Is this up to date? Yeah. Nope. Okay, so I got to look at that. All right, here's the 510. See what happens here. Obviously, you know, we want to see that continue to pop up, right? Steepening. Here's the 10-year. So we've got this inside candle right now. CPI, I don't even know if CPI can get us outside this candle. This is such a robust candle on the weekly, but we'll see. This is actually a bullish, right? Inside candle. We can, you know, we'll see. Here's a 3-month 10-year, you know, this is what I look like. 78.6% isn't able to reclaim. So if you look solely at this, okay, and this is the one I look at, and I know because that's for decades what everybody else looked at. It's just recently they said, oh no, we're not going to look at this anymore. But anyways, if you look at this, the recession probability hypothetically could be May 2024, but it did not confirm because this was the Volcker era down here. Right, so 210 starting to steepen a little bit, but got a red candle there. Let's see how that plays out. And then we have here, obviously, interest rates coming down in China. And then we have interest rates going up a little, but this is such a massive candle on the monthly again. I think we can stay inside this candle for a while, but the standard deviation moves that we're seeing are so astronomical. It's breathtaking. I wouldn't even, if I were a bond, if a trader and I had positions, okay, I mean, I don't even know if I would have the stomach to look at my P&L on a day-to-day basis because of the standard deviation moves we have. Don't forget, I'm used to 0.01. That was a crazy ass day, right? I don't know. Crazy. Dollar. All right, so the dollar bounced, but look at this. It's getting unable to reclaim this EMA right here. And that EMA is the 20 EMA on the monthly. Right? And the Bollinger's up here. I still think that the dollar will devalue, and that's a problem in and of itself in the United States. But that if the dollar devalues, then that allows us to export more. It's a flip, right? It's coin flip, right? There's positives and negatives in terms of import exports, right? So, but if the dollar devalues, then our import prices go up, right? And then, see, cryptos, whatever. This is a joke. I mean, I think it's a joke. Gold up, silver up, palladium up nicely as well, crude up, and natural gas is down. I'm going to buy this dip probably and add back into where we sold a boil yesterday. But it has to do some reclamation here. The problem is we have weak longs now, and they're going to have to sell, and then we're going to buy into that sell. And the other problem with this is that on the 10 EMA on the weekly, that's exactly where it stopped. Okay, so 38.16, okay, is a 10 EMA on the weekly. All right, so, and we're down to 35. So I probably won't buy back into this, guys, because we sold almost at the high yesterday. So I probably won't sell, buy back until we reclaim that 10 EMA, okay? So that's my strategy for those of you who want to follow me. I'll type it out for you as well, for those of you in the room who wanted, because of that sale we did, right? Nickel down, zinc up, copper, wheat. I'm really so excited. I cannot tell you how excited I am in terms of Spartan doing his due diligence on these different mineral, rare earth mining names. I mean, I'm absolutely positively downright giddy on that stuff. Okay, so I just, like I say, I cannot tell you how excited I am on that, because I think it is meaningful and important, right? And I think it, obviously, I think this is for this year this is what a commodity super cycle looks like, okay? And I reiterate this, and this is where people get it wrong, because the layman thinks, oh my God, look at the sell-off on the commodity side. If you understand the construct of a commodity super cycle, by definition, it's 7 to 10 years. By definition, this is probably year 3 on it. Okay. By definition, within a commodity super cycle, you do get bear market pullbacks to the scene of the crime. This is very, very common. And I have seen multiple commodity super cycles. I started out in the commodity business in 1979. Either you understand my knowledge or you don't understand my knowledge. You get buying opportunities, okay? 2 weeks ago, I said that there's a 3-year cycle low that happened in natty gas, okay, 3 weeks ago, okay? This is what it looks like when you get a cycle low. This is similar to what I told you a year ago or so, 2 years, of the cycle low in gold. This is what it looks like. These are powerful moves that get you to all-time highs. Crude is not there. So within that commodity super cycle, you see individual sectors that get these multi-year, and the problem with day traders, short-term traders, is when you're dealing in commodities, I'm telling you this, it's months and years. You wait for these setups. And right now, you saw how we're doing this with the boil, over 200+% return just in a matter of a few weeks, just with this spread alone. So that's my story. Boop. That's what it looks like. and I got really excited. So how does this play out? Okay. Believe it or not, okay, believe it or not, you have to look, okay, at this, okay, this, not this, okay. You look at this, okay, this high and this low. We break this out, okay, which we should, but you have to be patient. This is going to take a little bit of time. See how this was? You had this move, then you pull back, then you had this move, right? You have to be patient. The key pivot's going to be we have to hold this low. That's what it looks like. We rallied into the 10 EMA. Just saying. MLP still looks fine. OIH. We got a little bit of double bottom here, but you can't do anything until we get a green candle. So that would be Halliburton, Schlumberger. No, nothing going on. I need green candles. You can't do anything without a green candle on the weekly, right? USO, UNG held. Let's see what happens there, right? I love it when we get these commodity moves. I get very, very excited. Okay, very, very excited. So, yes, food, holding, mid, we'll see. I think it's going to surprise a lot of people that we break out on the upside. Okay. Okay. So you have to understand this with crude in particular. Okay. This is since the beginning of time, right? Crude is a bunch of greedy bastards, these CEOs, owners, investors, okay? They will do whatever it takes, okay, to pay themselves, whatever it takes. We're starting to see some mergers and acquisitions going on there, okay, because they know that's the only way they're going to grow, because it's too expensive otherwise to do new drilling, right? You don't want to basically impact your profits by doing that, okay? So stock buybacks, divvies, all this stuff. This is how it works. We're starting to see this in the biotech sector. These guys are a little bit a bunch of big greedy bastards too, okay? You know, and we see all of these little baby bios. I mean, we're talking $1, $2, $3, $5, $6, okay? All getting bought up simply because they know this is the game that we're playing right now. And this game should last all year, right? Huh. So, like I say, we'll see how this plays out. And, this is what it looks like. This is how it happens. This is what it looks like. Okay. It's just, commodity 101, pay yourself. Here's gold crude. All right, let's move along here. Here we go. Indices, VIX down a little bit, I have such a light exposure to the VIX. Okay, I still have a very light exposure because I think this is potentially similar to October, right? So we'll wait for confirmation. DAX is up a little bit. What's up? China's up a little bit. Who cares? Hang Seng down. Nifty 50, yada, yada, yada. DAX still held. Look at that. Triple top, breakout, held it monthly. Okay, cool. This is DAX against the S&P. S&P still looks fine, but if this starts to curl up, this is my narrative. You want to peel off some money to have some money overseas. DAX against China, well, that's a no-brainer, right? FTSE. Why? Fez. It's actually inside candle. This is going to take some time. I mean, honestly, but looks good still, right? But it didn't break out all-time highs, so, well, these are all-time highs, right? So we'll see. This is an EFA, small cap, like EFA, but it's a different one, VEA. And here's EFA. Broke, but came back in, the small caps. And here's QQQ, next leg up coming on that. That's bullish. EFA, IWM, you know, I told you the bounce here. So I'll have to admit right now I got it wrong on the small caps. Well, it's the first week of the year, so we'll see. All right. We're gonna look at cyber. We're gonna look at some of these names because obviously they're about to break out. Okay, this is the ETF. Keep an eye on this stuff. This stuff looks like it's gonna break out. This is bug. Now, if you want to know here, cyber, okay, all you have to do is look at what the holdings are. Okay. Top 10, Broadcom, CrowdStrike, Infosys, Cisco, Palo Alto, Okta. I'm in Okta calls, Sentinel-1, Fortinet. I'm in Fortinet, I'm in Palo Alto, I'm in Okta, I'm in CrowdStrike. AVGO, I'm in USD, and that's my representation for it. Okay, but it is considered Broadcom in that space. Okay, and he'll go hack. So cyber is the top dog, right? And a lot of that does have to do with his checkpoint. Is that not friggin' beautiful? Look at the strength of that. Breaking out. His Fortinet looking better. I added in, I never do this, guys, but I was so frustrated by it. I said, how can this not? So I did. So I peeled some off on the add back. I normally don't do that. Zscaler, ZS, watch this one, double top if that breaks out. I know Spartan mentioned this yesterday. Keep an eye on this one for the breakout. It's got some room on the upside there. ENB, reclaiming some support. Obviously very weak, like Fortinet. Snowflake, I'm in this one. I think this breaks out. Okay. I bought it off the double bottom there. You know me, I love my double bottoms. And I continue to tell you, these are my A++ setups. Okay, if I can get a double bottom on something, the reason why I say these are A++, and people don't, a lot of people do not do this, but the reason why I do it is because it's a very well-defined risk reward. My stop is last month's low. It's that simple. So I bought it at 183. Okay. It's well defined, and then I'll add into it if we break out this high. Okay. This is my strategy. This is how I do things. This is not what you would call a day trader type strategy. This is a swing trader's mentality where I want to buy something with a well-defined risk reward. And I've showed you this time and time again. I've made good money, and I've showed this to the room how I make money on this. I bought CrowdStrike not because of that double bottom, but because of the shout out from Spartan on it. So I'll see if it works out. It did reclaim the 78.6% fib. So for me right now, you know, last month's high is my stop. So that's 261.81. Everything's well defined. There's a method to the madness here, friends. Synopsis is kind of interesting, but this is not one. It's so expensive. I mean, I got other stuff. All right, so here's the cues. You know the drill. No damage done here. We basically, last week's high, right, 406.09, right? We break and hold above that, no damage. You know, next leg up, shockingly, we could be, you know, ta-da. All right, so what does it look like on an extension, right? So on an extension, this is what it looks like. So this is how I do things, and I've been doing this for decades. So you say, well, Beth, how do you get your price target? Okay, so if you look here on these extensions, this is a weekly chart, right? So basically out to March, 483. And then you kind of just look at it. Okay, and that's the 1.50 fib. So that kind of makes sense to me. So this would be that FOMO type first quarter rally. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll see. Cues against the defense, double bottom, positive. Okay, cues against XBI. This is going to be interesting. So obviously this is the strong sector. We'll see if it holds here. Right? And you can see if it does, then it should start to curl up, and then we see reclamation. So that would be tech, right? Double bottom here on the Qs against Jets. You can see that right now.
Already, Beth, ready to pop on here.
Thank you.
Alrighty, guys, what's up? Morning. Let me just pop up the screen share here. So, if you guys are new to chat and haven't done so, make sure to click on that Discord link that's emailed to you. Pop in the chat, look something a little bit like this. First area to go to when you guys do come in, click on that disclaimer section, give that a read, as well as go to the new to chat information section, scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section, you see a link to the disclaimer as well as this bolded risk reward section. Super important to understand both in regards to risk reward, most important ratio in trading. So, definitely worth checking out. There in that regard, continue to scroll down. We have the summary of how this chat works, breaks it on the channel's work on the left-hand side, so you can probably navigate the chat through the day. Important scenario to be looking. Continue to scroll down. We have the how to read alerts on the options and equity side, breaking down how to read alerts on both sides. Pretty straightforward in that regard. Continue to scroll down. We have the Spartan options rules that we like to use every single day in regards to the options ideas. SPX rules right below that. Below this, any of the small account less than 10K breaking down. If you do have a smaller account, less than 10K, here's some rules, information, discipline you could put in place. You could better manage that account. How to pick ideas from an options or equity perspective below that. And that's it. All right, pre-market tickers on watch, guys. Let's take a look at what we got going on today. So a couple different things. Tesla, ISRG, Coin, ALC, TGTX, and CMND. So Tesla gapping up in sympathy with the market, small little gap up there. Intuitive gapping up. Surgical stock rallies on sales forecast as demand for robot surgeons rises. Coin gapping down in sympathy with, crypto, Bitcoin. ALC reports positive top line results from its phase 3 Comet trials. TGTX provides preliminary fourth quarter and full year 2023 net revenue and 2024 anticipated milestones, gapping up on that. And then last but not least, Command, Clear Mind Medicine completes type A meeting with the FDA, and they're getting a nice little gap up because of that. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. So first two we're going to be looking at today, guys, going to be that Tesla and ISRG. I got to reload this platform. Let me just reload this one platform, guys, and we're good to go. There we go. All right, so first two guys, Tesla and ISRG. Let's take a look. All right, guys, pivot to the upside today. 237.19 levels able to hold. 242.14 to the 247.20. Unable to hold, we look for pullback towards 231.83 to 228.44 on the downside. Going to be leaning bullish, looking for a continuation push higher if the pivot point's able to hold. So that is Tesla. Let's take a look at ISRG. $344.98 pivot levels able to hold 941 to 352.23. I'll show you 352.32. Unable to hold 341.63, 336.78 downside leading bullish. We're looking for a continuation push higher if that pivot point is able to hold. So that is ISRG, that is Tesla. All right, let's take a screenshot of this. Let's move on to the next two here. All right. All right. Coin and ALC. All right, 150.55 pivot to the downside today on coin. List levels unable to hold 144.52 to 135.29. Able to hold, we look for a pullback or push towards 156.81, 162.61. On the upside, you can be leaning bearish if that pivot point's unable to hold. Be a break of a range support on the daily with room for continuation lower if it's unable to hold there. So we'll see what happens in that regard. Oh, it's not loading. Not sure why about it, guys, but I can't get that chart up here. Hmm. All right, I think I got it. Yeah, I did. So 79.99 on ALC pivot. Level holds 81.33 to 82.10. Unable to hold 78.74 downside, leaning bullish. Neutral there. So that's coin. That's ALC. Let's take a screenshot of this. Let's move on to the next. There we go. All right, last two. We got that TGTX and command. Pivot 2360 on TGTX. Level holds 24.53 to 25.27. Unable to hold 22.18 to 20.65 on the downside, leaning bullish. Looking for a continuation push higher today if the pivot point is able to hold. That's TGTX. Let's take a look at CMND. All right. I'm gonna keep this up on the daily, I think. All right, 356 pivot level holds 41 to the 595 spot. Unable to hold 257, 178 on the downside. So I'm just gonna do a couple of the FANG names, guys, and then I'm gonna pass it to sell piece because I'll just run through it after. So let me just do the SPY here. All right, 475.11 pivot level holds 477.78 to 480.11. Unable to hold 472.52 to 469.58 downside, leaning bullish. Looking for a continuation push higher today if the pivot point is able to hold. That is the SPY. All right, so I'm going to go and pass it over to sell pitch, guys, while I type up the pre-market action plan. Then we'll do a quick little recap when I do come back on. So sell pitch, if you're there and you're ready, it's all yours for now, my friend.
Okay, thanks, guys. Good morning. Let's see what we got going on here today. Okay, so the market has been vacillating pretty much around the unchanged line, more or less, right? So that's nothing, and there wasn't any economic news that I saw, right? We got wholesale inventories at 10. No real earnings, a couple of them, smaller companies. We'll talk about those in a minute. So let's get right to the bond market and see what that's saying. Okay, so we got the bond market a little lower this morning, but it's been vacillating around that 4% level now for, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. 3987 down 0.03. So the market tends to want to do a little better when it's under 4. We'll see. I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference, to be honest. We got that big move last month, and rates went down quite a bit. So we have the 10-year at 398, we got the 2-year at 433, and we have the inversion at 35. Okay, 2 years down from 511. So, I mean, the bond market has been signaling, it wants to go lower. Does it stay at this level for a bit? Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if it even moves a little bit higher, but I don't think that's that meaningful. Okay. London, kind of sort of the same situation. Okay. Their rates have been trending down. They're slightly lower this morning, just a blip like 0.01 across the whole curve. Do they have an inversion still? Let's see, 417. Yeah, this is about the same as ours in the 0.3 something area. Rates in the rest of the Eurozone are a little lower as well. Okay, so lower rates this morning to start off. All right, so that's kind of good. Let's see what else is going on. Commodity prices. So we have oil ticking up $1 today. So it's in the middle of that 70, towards the lower end of that 70-80 trading range. But not a whole lot going on in the oil pit. What I see from the equities, though, is people want to reduce exposure. Does that continue? I have no idea. Natural gas has a 3 handle, but that, they switched the front month down a little bit today. It was pretty strong yesterday, so we'll see how that goes. Gold is up a slight drop. Copper's in that trading range, and these agricultural commodities are kind of on the boring side. Okay, let's pick one today and see what that looks like. Oats, it's trading in a trading range, and it's right in the middle of the range. Coffee, kind of probably the same, exactly. So commodities, not much doing there. And currencies, we got the dollar mixed against North America, up against these Asian currencies, Japan and China, but only marginal at best, and basically flat against the pound and the euro, 109, 127. Crypto, so crypto's taking it on the chin this morning. We got Bitcoin down 3%, and interestingly enough, Ethereum is up 5%. Any explanation for that? I have no idea. Truly. Solana's down 4%. Okay, I'm no crypto expert, that's for sure. And last but not least, hold on, somebody just texted. Let's look at the foreign market, see what we got. So we have the DAX is dead flat. No change there. FTSE's down 0.2. What else do we have? Nikkei, so it blasted through that, what, 30-year top or whatever the hell it was yesterday, and it's up another 2% today. You know, that should be no surprise when you know, go through something on any stock that's been basically sitting at a level forever. The blast off through usually is very pronounced. So I think that's the case there. Chinese stocks are down 0.5%. What else is doing? Hong Kong, same thing. Taiwan, same thing. So they're all down 0.5%. And that's your backdrop. So we got the banks and Fed. We have one Fed governor speaking today. We don't have, what do we have? We have tomorrow, we have CPI at 8:30, and Friday we have PPI. So we should start seeing a little more movement out of the bonds. We'll see how that pans out. Okay, and that'll probably give some kind of signal, but it is only one number. These assholes on TV will make it seem like the stock market will live and die by these numbers, but no one number is that important, quite frankly. All right, so that's the banks and Fed. China, what's going on with these jokers? I don't see much out of China overnight. Russia will discuss. Crypto we got. So we had that SEC breach on yesterday that said basically they somehow finagled some kind of number from the SEC and then planted something on Twitter and basically said that the ETF was approved. And quite frankly, I think we're all of the opinion that it's going to get approved. And I do think it's a sell the news kind of event. And I think people are just starting to get in front of it because they see how it acted yesterday prior to finding out, right? You had a spike up and then there was weakness. So if you were long those things and you think it may be a sell the news event, you would probably try to get in front of it. But we'll see. Okay. I don't know. Quinn's is saying it's because ETH is up because of an ETF. Okay, maybe so. I don't know. I'm no Bitcoin expert. I don't trade these things. I trade Mara and Riot and Coin, but the other things not so much. All right. So yesterday we had, kind of like the market was vacillating between unchanged pretty much all day, right? And then you had a little bit of a move at the end of the day down. It seemed like every time the market tried to get some linear move up, they pulled the rug out. So it was like move up, pull the rug out, move up, pull the rug out. So you really couldn't get anything going. Believe me, I tried. I ended up making a small amount on the day, which is fine. The Dow was down 157, which isn't really indicative of the market. The SPYs were down 8. NASDAQ was up a little bit. Transports again, kind of soft. So let's see if there's any change technically on any of these things, just for giggles. I don't think there will be. The SPYs no change, pretty bullish scenario there. NASDAQ, kind of the same thing, holding the moving averages, look pretty good on daily and weekly. The Russell, not as good as the other two. Doesn't have EMA support on the daily down to the 50-day, which is like 180 something. And so that one looks a little less good. And the one I'm keeping the eye on is the transports, which kind of looks a little bit like the Russell, except it never had the move up. So this thing's kind of languishing. Maybe it's because of the Red Sea situation. Who knows? But it looks at best. So we'll see how that does. All right. So now, yesterday, the best group is high PE tech. And on the short side, you had big oil and gas, cable stocks, entertainment, those kind of names. Banks and Chinese stocks for a change were shit. It's really funny every time everybody's saying, oh, it's time for the Chinese stocks. And you know what? It's never time for the Chinese stocks. Stocks suck. And every big rally should be met by shorting, to be quite frank. That's the only way that makes money in these names. Okay, so banks and Fed, one Fed governor speaking today. What else? Home prices were higher in November. The best city for, had the highest gains in home prices on an annual basis is a new name. The old name was Miami. It held that spot for 16 months. Anybody want to guess what the new city is for the biggest increase in prices? Somebody's got to know, but I was surprised. That's a state, Damien. I said city, but no, not Houston. Any one more guess? Because I was very surprised. Mr. Natural is going to throw one in Scottsdale. The answer is Detroit, guys. 8.7% increase year over year. That surprised me. Anyway, it was pretty depressed, and I guess people like a good football team, so they're moving to Detroit. Who knows? Anyway, that's the story. They have the Republican debate tonight in Iowa. Only two candidates. We got DeSantis and Haley, so both are vying for the number 2 spot. Trump is not engaging in the debate circuit. He's more engaged in the court circuit, and we'll see how that goes. Okay. Then you had that Red Sea attack, which was the biggest one to date. 21 missiles and drones was sent from Yemen to attack ships, and nothing really happened, but it was a massive drone attack. You had an admiral on TV this morning. Basically, his narrative is you can't just keep playing defense. You have to move to the offense, and we know that the US and Britain have had discussions. So we'll see what happens here. Who knows? Okay. Biden has been pretty reserved in his reaction to things. So I don't know what's going to happen. And that's that. Okay. So Israel-Hamas situation, basically no change there. Then you have the Israel-Hezbollah situation, which seems to be, ratcheting up a little bit. And so that situation is not coming down anytime soon. Then you got Russia-Ukraine. The China claims that Russia is serious about a ceasefire. Who knows? Okay, we'll see what happens with that. Mortgage demand was up to start the year. On the lower rates, I guess there was a couple of weeks that people didn't do much. You have HPE acquiring Juniper for $14 billion, and Juniper is basically unchanged because it had its move yesterday, right? Up 40 cents. Okay, so nothing to do in that name. You had Jeff Gundlach, who, every so often, I don't know if it's once a month or what have you, but he gives his, on his site, he gives his outlook for things. Some of you may think he's a smart guy. Some of you may think he's a freaking dope. Anybody who runs the amount of money that he manages, I think, is a pretty smart guy. And here's his narrative. All right. He sees the chance of a severe recession carrying into 2024. And he thinks the spies may be forming a bearish trading pattern, a double top, etc., etc. He thinks the odds of a recession keep increasing. He's getting those opinions from watching the bond market. He says the inversion, the 210 inversion, is now at 79 weeks. The highest it's ever been recorded is 89 weeks. And that was in 1979 under the Carter administration. And we had a severe recession then, but some of it had to do with OPEC and the oil problem and the fact that Carter was pretty inept to begin with and all this other shit. So Gundlach is pretty bearish on stocks, and he thinks that when we do unwind the inversion, that's a negative signal, so that the economy is slowing. So he thinks the economy will slow. He thinks earnings will be soft, and he's not keen on the stock market. So what do you do with a piece of information like that? Okay. And my conclusion is you do nothing. You put it in the back of your head. You save it for when the narrative appears to be working. And right now, what I see is I see the SPYs in a very bullish pattern. I see the Qs in a bullish pattern. The transports give me some pause. The Russell, it's okay. And And if the pattern technically actually matches Gundlach's bearishness, then I'll have an opinion that maybe coincides with him. But for the time being, if you had that opinion, you would have missed a monster rally. If you shorted stocks, you'd be taking a 2x4 in your tuchus. And so you can't listen to these guys, okay? And you got to let the market fit the narrative. There's another guy out there, Marko Kolanovic, who's been very bearish, okay? Sees a bunch of negative catalysts. He spoke as well. Disinflation process is stalling. Equities are overbought. He thinks shipping costs are a problem. He thinks optimism on inflation is premature. He sees lower earnings, based on a lot of stuff, shipping costs, et cetera, et cetera. And there's another bearish guy, okay? He's been bearish for a bit as well, okay? So if you listen to these guys, who are both very smart and very successful, you would have gotten your clock cleaned, okay? So wait for the technicals to match a narrative that you can actually grasp. If the technicals disagree with the narrative, which in my opinion they do now, ignore it. Play the technicals, okay? You'll be a lot wealthier, and you won't have this agita about being contra. When you're day trading or swing trading, you can't be contra trend, okay? That's like the fast trip to the poorhouse. So be careful and mindful of that. All right. So that's that. What else do we have? BA spoke last night, basically, accepting responsibility in that Alaska Air incident. He blamed it on the supply, not basically the assembly chain, the supply chain, etc., not on design. I think that's why Boeing's up a little bit. It's a fixable situation. And that's why I put bullish spreads on with a maximum profit between, starting at 230 and going all the way up to 245. So I'm kind of bullish on the stock, thinking, okay, they can fix the problem and it's not going to be catastrophic. We'll see. Okay. Heavy storms in the Northeast, rain, snow, a lot of people lost power, 500,000 people already, etc. Meta is starting to address online safety issues regarding Facebook and Instagram, and they're going to hide search results for certain items. So they've been catching a lot of flack for social media and how it's progressing and all the shit on there, and they're going to try to dial it back a little bit. See how that goes. Okay. Individual names, what do we got there? So better numbers. SGH, ISRIG gave pre-announced that stock was up a bit. I think a little more than a bit, up 15. We got this West WD40, believe it or not, it's a stock for that product. It stocks up a bunch. NYXH was good, PSMT, Massey, and AMRX, ETWO, and AZZ, all good. Regeneron CEO, Regeneron is like, I don't know if it's the premier biotech company, but it's certainly one of them. And he was on Kramer's last night, and although I didn't see it, I was reading the excerpts, and basically he was saying AI is not the next big thing in new drugs. It's gene editing, and he thinks that is going to be the brass ring. And so keep an eye on that as a catalyst for maybe making trading ideas. ALC top line results were good. 4Cs, they have an extended cash runway, which basically means they're not going to tap the syndicate market for a little longer than expectations. Lennar increased their dividend to $2, and they announced a $5 billion buyback. Stocks up, three on that news. What else? Amazon reducing staff at Twitch. Boeing, I told you. Juniper, on the negative side, all these Bitcoin stocks are down. That's what's important there. Research, the big downgrades of Zillow Group, Illinois Toolworks, RVLV, American Express, and Workday. On the positive side, we have someone who loves American Express. So take your pick. PAMW, people like that one. I think it's Morgan Stanley. BE got an upgrade, and Planet Hollywood both from Baird. And that's basically it. Okay, so we'll see what happens. It seems to me like we're going to have an inside day, going into those economic numbers tomorrow and Friday. So with that, I'll pass it to Spartan, and it's all yours, my man.
Alrighty, thank you, South Beach. Guys, morning, what's up? What's going on? So, if you guys are new to chat and haven't done so, make sure to click on that Discord link that's emailed to you. You pop into chat, it's going to look something a little bit like this. First area to go to when you guys do come in, click on that whoops. Disclaimer section. Whoops. I'm just gonna, there we go. There it is. That's a hang up button. Click on that disclaimer section, give that a read, as well as go to the new to chat information section, scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section, you got a link to the disclaimer, as well as this bolded risk reward section. Super important to understand both in regards to risk reward. Most important ratio in trading, guys, so definitely worth checking out that in that regard. Continue to scroll down. We have the summary file. This chat works, breaks down all the channels work on the left-hand side, so you can properly navigate the chat throughout the day. Important you know where to be looking. Continue to scroll down. We have how to read alerts on the options and equity side, breaking down how to read alerts on both sides. Pretty straightforward in that regard. Below that, options rules that we like to use Monday to Thursday in regards to controlling risk, scaling in, scaling out, trading different price contracts. SPX rules right below that. And then last but not least, any of the small account less than 10K, breaking down a few of the smaller account less than 10K. Some rules, information, discipline you can put in place. You can better manage that account. Sorry, and then how to pick ideas from an options or equity perspective right there. All right, let's take a look what we got going on today, guys. A couple different things. Pre-market tickers on watch. What do we got going on today? So Tesla, ISRG, Coin, ALC, TGTX, CMND. Tesla gapping up and saving through the market. ISRG. Surgical stock rallies on sales forecast as demand for robot surgeons rises. Coin gapping up in sympathy with crypto. ALC reports positive top line results from phase 3 comment trials of AR 15512. TGTX provides preliminary fourth quarter and full year 2023 net revenue 2024 anticipated milestones. Gapping up on that. CMND, Clearmind Medicine completed type A meeting with FDA completed as well. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. First two, Tesla and ISRG. Okay. Whatever, that's fine. So Tesla guys, 237.18 pivot level holds 242.14 to 247.20, unable to hold 231.83, 228.44. Going to be leaning bullish neutral if the pivot point is able to hold. Let's just see if I can get a little bit closer on these. I think I can. All right, ISRG 344. 06 pivot to the upside today. It level holds 349.48 to 352. 43, unable to hold 341.55 to 336.80 on the downside will be tested. Overall on ISRG, going to be leaning on the bullish side today if the pivot point is able to hold. Let's take a look at the next two. We got Coin and ALC. Coin pivot to the downside today, 150.55, unable to hold 144.52 to 135.29. Able to hold 156.81 to 162.61 on the upside. Going to be leaning bearish. Looking for continuation lower there at the pivot points. Unable to hold. ALC pivot. 79.99 level holds 81.33, 82.10. Unable to hold 78.74 to the 77.85 on the downside. Leaning bullish neutral there as well. Let's take a look at TGTX and Command. TGTX pivot. 2360 level holds 2453, 2527, unable to hold 2218 to 2065 downside, leading bullish neutral there. This Command pivot upside today is going to be the, let's go to the daily chart on this, will be much easier to see. 359 level holds 41, 595, unable to hold 257 to 178 on the downside, leading bullish neutral. Let's take a look at the SPY and the FANG. All right, guys, let's take a look at the market here. I'm going to type this SPY up as I always do. So SPY 475.11 pivot to the upside today. In my opinion, this level holds from higher into the 477.78 resistance breaks. We see the 480.11 tested. Pivot unable to hold. Room lower into the 472.52 support breaks. We see the 469.58 tested. It's going to be leaning bullish, neutral there. Let's take a look at the rest of the FANG. Apple 183.93 pivot level holds 185.79 to 187.60. Unable to hold. We look for a pullback towards the unable to hold. We look for a pullback towards the 182.81 to the 180.88 on the downside. Going to be leaning bullish. You're looking for a continuation push higher today at that pivot point. Is able to hold. Let's take a look at Apple. Or sorry, Amazon. Pivot to the upside today, going to be the 150-185 level holds. Room towards 153.75 to 155.75. Unable to hold 149.91, 147.49 downside. Leaning bullish neutral. Oops. Let's move this Discord over here. There we go. Moving this one thing away from me a little bit here, guys. Let's take a look at Netflix. Pivot to the upside today. 484.91 level holds 491.15, 490 or 496.72. Unable to hold 479.68 to the 473.50 downside and leaning bullish. Let's take a look at Meta. Pivot to the upside today. 358.26 level hold 368.80, 363.42. Unable to hold 355.30 to 352.16. Leaning bullish neutral there as well. Google pivot upside today is going to be the 140.79 level holds 141.50 to 142.79. Unable to hold 139.80 to 138.76 on the downside at leaning bullish neutral. And then last but not least, guys, let's take a look at the VIX, Qs, and IWM. VIX 1277 pivot level holds 1320, 1348. Unable to hold 1238 downside. Let's take a look at the Qs. Pivot to the upside today is going to be the 406.66 level holds 408.52, 409.97. Unable to hold 404.60 to 401.42. SPX 47.64 level holds 47.79, 47.93. Unable to hold 47.46 to 47.32. Leaning bullish neutral there. And that is it. So that's the spot. That's a FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today, guys. If you joined us in the pre-market stream, thanks for popping in this Wednesday. We'll see you guys next Wednesday as we do this every single